for this evening's live GAA action. It's the All-Ireland Hurling Qualifiers, and coming face to face this evening are Cork and Tipperary, and at stake is a place in the All-Ireland quarterfinals. Yes, hello, you're very welcome indeed. Throw-in was to have been at 4:15 here at Fitzgerald Stadium in Killarney. The first thing we have for you is a little bit of news because the start has been delayed. Guess why? Traffic problems coming into Killarney on the Cork and of course on the Tipperary roads in here this evening. Well, I can tell you something else. If I hadn't done the Rally of the Lakes 10 times the last 15 years, I'd be out there with them as well. However, we've made it, so too after Moss Mackay and Pete Finnerty. Gentlemen, you're very welcome indeed. Delay like this, I mean, it's a frustration obviously for all the supporters who are out there at the moment, and some of whom I think have actually turned home and maybe gone and had a look at this in the pub or whatever. But it's also a bit of an upset for some of the players.
It is an upset for every player because Tipperary were out on the field an hour beforehand. They had nothing to do. They got here early. They came down by train. They wouldn't risk coming down by car. They had plenty of time to kill. They got ready for the match. Next thing they heard was going to be a delay of 15 minutes. They went out in the field. They were pucking around. They've gone back into the pitch now again, or into the dressing room. And they've 35 minutes, 40 minutes to kill before the match, and it is a put-off because players like to get into the action. Everything is done. The talking has been done. The training is over, and it's get stuck in, but they have a delay now to counteract it, and it's unusual and something they could do without.
I was talking to Brendan Cummins, the Tip goalkeeper, a little earlier on to Moss. I told him Cork were stuck in traffic and that they were getting a walkover in this game. He said, well, sure, we're going for a puck around anyway. But again, it's part of the problem. I mean, I suppose there was a lot of talk about this game being here in Killarney this evening, and well, this won't help, obviously, if there's problems.
Certainly, Michael, it doesn't help, being honest with you, and you'd have to question the decision, right? I mean, it's not against Killarney as a venue itself, or Killarney or Kerry as a county, being honest with you, but like, if on a given Saturday, right, I mean, the toss of the coin would have been the fair thing here, and let one team of supporters travel. It means then that the home team will actually just go to their home venue, and it makes it easier for everybody. I mean, people coming through Limerick today, I mean, traffic has been held up in Limerick for Tipperary people. You're out as far as Ballyvorney and Cork, and it's tailbacks a couple of miles back, and it's a sad day.
This is the real problem. The problem isn't so much here in Killarney. The problem is some of the towns along the way weren't really ready for this, or somebody wasn't ready for it anyway.
Yeah, I came to Castleisland and towns like that, major towns where you have traffic lights, and that's what you're relying on. There was no member of the Garda Síochána, and I think it's absolutely crazy to have a match down here, and I know Kerry's a lovely county, but it's not fair to bring two counties down through the one road when you have the best pitch in Ireland is in Thurles, and the second best side at the moment is in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And if Tipperary got advantage this year, okay, let Cork have it the next time they play in the qualifier, and nobody loses out. But even the revenue for counties, and they're not geared for it down in Kerry at the moment. It's something that I'm sure the stewards would even admit. The pitch, we walked the pitch already. It's bumpy and it's humpy. It's a football pitch, and I think it's absolutely ludicrous. And whoever thought of in Dublin should think again.
I think we have to emphasise to Moss, if genuinely we're not having a goal for Fitzgerald Stadium, Killarney, or the town of Killarney, or anything like that.
Absolutely not. No,
you know, the issue is a different one here.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
I mean, it's a Saturday afternoon, 4:15. It's going to be difficult to get to any venue, Michael, certainly. But certainly when you feel that there's going to be 35, 40,000 people, somebody has to line the road and say, get traffic through and get it through freely, because people have left early this morning. People have left at 10 o'clock this morning, 9 o'clock, and they've been travelling 3 or 4 hours on the road to get an hour's journey in, and that's unfair on them, because you must look at Tipperary supporters, you must look at Cork supporters. They've travelled all over the country to follow their teams, and if this match was in Letterkenny today, they would have been up there today to support their team, and it's unfortunate that this something like this happens for what could be a fantastic game. And Pete mentioned about the pitch, look, I mean, and about the delays. The one good thing for the players is, look, it's going to be the same for both teams at this stage. Look, they've got to have to get on with it at this stage. There's no turning back, and it's do or die situation, and hopefully we'll get a very good game of hurling.
Oh, when it does start, there's no doubt about that. Well, the two teams are here. Tip, as the lad said, were here a little bit earlier. Cork are here, of course, for the last while as well. And their managers are here, Donal O'Grady from Cork and Ken Hogan, the Tip manager. They've both been talking to Jim Carney.
Well, Jim, I suppose it's very difficult coming out after losing the Munster final by a point. We're in an unknown situation. I mean, Tipperary have played Limerick already in the qualifier, so they might be tuned into it. But we're hoping that we'll give a good account of ourselves. I mean, you know, we want to remember that we were only beaten by a point against Waterford, and we're determined to do well today. We see this as our first step in the real championship. It is knockout from today, so, you know, you win, you go ahead. If you're beaten, it is in early summer.
Now, you've had the lads back for the last couple of weeks. When you looked into their faces, what did you see done?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I think the team, you know, are fairly upbeat. We're coming down to do as good a job as we can today. It's, you know, it's a new place for us. We haven't played in Killarney before, and we see it as a new beginning, and we're hoping to start the springboard for our championship campaign today.
What do you think of the surface of the pitch, Don? You just had a brief look at it there.
Yeah, well, Jim, we were down last Saturday just for the, just to familiarise ourselves with it, and it's not exactly in pristine condition, and Kerry footballers probably had a few training sessions as well during the week, which didn't do any help. But what sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, and it may not be what you want. It wouldn't be as good now as Páirc Uí Chaoimh at the moment or Croke Park, but you play. You play in the conditions that are there. The breeze, I think, is going to be very tricky because it's coming back over our shoulders there, which is going to bring all the play into the right corner forward or left corner back, and that will probably give the players more cause of concern than anything else.
A final thought, Donald, just looking around us here, it's a sea of red and white. These Cork hurling people, you might lose an odd match, but they love their hurling.
Well, I must say, Jim, that the supporters have been excellent. The players have given a big effort, as they always do, and the supporters have through thick and thin, they have backed us, and we gave them, I think, something to shout about last year, and we're hoping that this year, that this match today will continue that, and from here on, as I said, that it will be a springboard to further success this year.
I suppose any Tip Cork game is a real titanic tussle, and I suppose it'll be no different today. I suppose the history of the game, Tipperary and Cork have played in many tussles, but this, funny enough, these present day players, they haven't met each other too often, and it's a novel pairing really.
And from your point of view, your fellas had a good game the last day, so they'll be really up for this now after that.
Well, we're delighted to get out with Limerick. We didn't play that well, but having said that, it was a tremendous win for us in Limerick's backyard, and we're coming down now to Killarney with renewed hope, and the fellas have worked very hard and trained very hard for this game, and I suppose playing Cork, the lads are really, really up for this one.
And here they come, by the way.
We would have felt we had a very strong defence going into the championship, Michael, but they've been leaking a lot of goals, and it's something I'm sure that Donald Grady and the selectors would be worried about, because you're scoring 114 the last in a Munster final, you would say sometimes it's enough to win you one match in the first half period, but there was goals going in, and that has been kind of the scene in the championship for them, and certainly, Dermot O'Sullivan, Wayne Sherlock and Brian Murphy will have to tighten up around the square today, and it will be interesting if he said, will Dermot O'Sullivan pick up John Carlow, will Owen Kelly go in around the square and actually try and draw Dermot O'Sullivan up, because he's been exposed when he's been taken out the field, certainly with a space in front of goal, he's been exposed in the championship, and I suppose up front...
The selectors have brought back, if he won't mind us saying so, an old-timer in Brian Corcoran to go in full forward. Would he be better served maybe with his experience and his cool head a bit further back the field in the full back line?
Well, you wouldn't have said that, Michael, in the first half against Waterford when he got those great points,
Sure, yeah.
He was working the oracle there and certainly played a great game. Going into a match like this, Tipperary haven't beaten Limerick, so it remains to be seen what throws up, and brings back memories to 87 down here, and I met Richie Stakelum on the way in.
That's right.
And shake the hand, and we'll always remember the famine is over, that famous speech, and he's lifting the cup,
That was your wee one that era.
That's right, yes. They didn't want to win there afterwards, yeah. But it served up a fantastic game that day, and hopefully we can get a repeat of something like that today. It will be great for the game of hurling.
Well, there's no doubt that 87 game was a bit of a hurling classic. What's going to happen here this evening? As I said, throwing has been delayed for a little while. It'll be at 4:30 now here. We take another break. Join us again after that.
During the championship, and today there's just one alteration to the team that lost narrowly in the Munster final. Kieran Murphy from Sarsfields gets a starting berth, with Timmy McCarthy being relegated to the subs bench. In the slight reshuffle, Ben O'Connor comes out to the right wing and Murphy moves into the corner. Well, as with Cork, there was just one change in this Tipperary starting 15 announced during the week. That's from the team that just about beat Limerick by a point. Former captain Conor Gleeson is drafted into the half-forward line as a replacement for the injured Eddie Enright. Gleeson will play on the 40, flanked by the Dunn brothers, Tommy and Benny, although this year's captain Tommy Dunn could just as easily play in midfield alongside Colin Morrissey, and I have an idea he may well do so. And the referee today is Barry Kelly from Westmeath, gaining a lot of match experience. He was the All-Ireland minor final referee in 2000 for the game between Cork and Galway, and of course he was in charge of this year's All-Ireland club final on St Patrick's Day when Newton Chandram from Cork beat Dunloy from Antrim. One of the Kerry officials here on duty, and one of those organising the event, was saying, we've sold 35,000 tickets, the problem is getting 35,000 people in on time. And there was a groan, of course, as you heard, when the public address announcer that the match was back until 4:30, 15 minutes delay. And that is the call of the local Garda chief. But Michael, you experienced firsthand the traffic delays trying to get here. Beautiful place, but on a Saturday, it's tough getting to the match on time.
A nightmare on the way down along, but I suppose you have to forget these things. We're here now, beautiful setting for a match.
Agus Aaron Nidion. Cork who won the toss. They played from left to right in the first half. Huge crowd, great atmosphere. The surface a bit iffy, a bit barren just down in front of us where the concerts were held recently. A bit bumpy, some of the players are saying. Donal O'Grady, pressure on him, second year in charge, but he got them to the All-Ireland final last year. And a switch straight away as we expected. Tommy Dunn's gone to midfield and Paul Kelly has gone to right half forward. It's Cork playing against the wind on a weekend when we're bringing you 4 live matches here on Network 2 from this year's championship, including today's qualifier here at Killarney, where it's Cork defending the goal to our left up against their great rivals in Munster, Tipperary. John Gardner playing it towards Kieran Murphy. An early opportunity to establish himself here, going for the opening score and getting it after 15 seconds play. We'll start. Well, essentially just 2 players involved in the attack. The first of them was John Gardner, but the scorer, Kieran Murphy from Sarsfields, and that will do his confidence a great deal of good. Once again, it's Jerry O'Connor, that time beaten for it by Tommy Dunn. O'Halpine coming forward. Just one whole Halpine in the team this year. Sean Ogue up towards Murphy again. This time beating him, however, is Paul Curran. Kicked away. Pressure down there. Breeze into the Cork backs in the opening half, of course. It's picked up over there by Owen Kelly. Trying to go on a wandering. Taking Jim O'Sullivan out with him, and O'Sullivan gets that clearance away downfield towards McCarthy. That's Niall McCarthy. Garvin's to his left. Still in play. That's Declan Fanning, centre half back for Tipperary. All a bit uncertain. No great flow. Colin Morrissey was being bottled up, and in the end the decision is going to go Cork's way.
Cork looked very fired up. Just even looking at their warm-up, they looked that bit more eager and sharper than Tipperary. Tipper a bit lackadaisical, when they came out in the field, but Cork looked very, very focused, and certainly they started the game a lot more aggressively than they did against Waterford.
Remember, there's a place in the quarter-finals of this year's championship at stake. One of those quarter-finalists we know already. That will be Antrim. O'Halpine towards Garvin McCarthy. Back there and trying to help out, but it's pointless anyway because the referee has whistled and it's going to be a free to Tipperary. This will be Eamon Corcoran. Huge one down. Gardner going up for it. It bounces around. Nobody quite certain where it's going to land. Picked up here well by Owen Kelly over his head as Sherlock was pursuing, and it's a great shot. Owen Kelly, first chance to get a score in this match. He did really well. Took it over his left shoulder, beating Wayne Sherlock that time, and he ties it up at a point apiece. Wayne Sherlock and Brian Murphy have been switched, I can tell you. a bad puck out. It's come straight there to Benny Dunn. Chance to send it back with interest, but too short. The one thing coaches hate to see, the ball landing in the opposing goalkeeper's hands. Donald Cusack down towards Garvin McCarthy. Corcoran was reaching for it. Second chance for Eamon Corcoran, perhaps. Garvin McCarthy kicking it into the centre. Tipperary with a chance to break here. Chance to set up an attack, initiated by Martin Maher. Coming across to clear here is Brian Murphy, having made the switch across there with Wayne Sherlock. As a foul, and it's a free out to Cork, 20 metres out from their own goal line for a chop down. This is Brian Murphy coming across. Coming in there to challenge was Paul Kelly. So just to refer back to the changes there that Cork have made in their full backline, with Sherlock going left and Brian Murphy going right, it's to follow the players that were established to mark in the first place. This is a good break. McCarthy trying to set something up here, and that's a good looking effort. Nicely over the bar. Niall McCarthy, the one who gets it at the end. Great burst through there. Tom Kenny was involved, but a great finish by Niall McCarthy. So they're going point for point. John Gardner letting that one go over his head. Brian Murphy coming across, taking it away there. Seamus Butler is his man for the afternoon, it would appear. Gardner stumbling, leaving it to Colin Morrissey. Tip with a chance to play diagonal passes. Kelly going over. Wayne Sherlock pursues him. Kelly, 1 point to his credit so far, being forced way out the field. A whole group of Cork players around the half-back line trying to force him away further. They succeed. Sherlock, second time of asking, comes back. Brian Murphy's there, spills away from him. Carroll has it, released inside to Benny Dunn. Jim O'Sullivan's after him. Benny Dunn striking intuitively and putting it over the bar. Great score by Benny Dunn. Just after that attack looked like it was going absolutely nowhere. Suddenly there was a clearance, and in that clearance up popped Benny Dunn. It sailed over to make it 2 apiece.
I think Owen Kelly showed another side to his game there. I know he came out to field a long way with the ball, but when he loses possession, he's one of the best forwards in the game to fight for it back, and he tackled well, blocked down his man, and the score came off it. And great score by Benny Dunn.
The puck out's going towards the McCarthys, Niall and Garvin. That's well read, however, by Tommy Dunn, wearing number 10, popping up in midfield. Ronan Curran blocked down there by Conor Gleeson. Line ball to Cork. So very much an action-packed opening 6 minutes to the game. Sean O'Halpine, beautifully taken down, stylishly away by Martin Maher, one of the best cornerbacks in the game. He was an omission from the beginning in that match against Waterford. A lot of surprises at Tipperary on that occasion. A foul, another chop down, and it's going to be a free in this time. Man who was fouled was Seamus Butler. John Gardner being spoken to by the referee. Free in. Chance for Paul Kelly, who's playing at right half forward. Well, in fact, he's going to leave it, it appears, for his brother to hit. But there's a handy point for Tipperary here. Owen Kelly's going to hit it. Cork support in Killarney this afternoon, I would estimate, well, they outnumber Tip, I think, by about 3-1. Kelly strikes with great accuracy and puts it over. And Tipperary go into the lead. First time. Well, if Cork commit the fouls within 30 metres of their own goal, they're going to be punished. Referee's coming across now to a word with Seamus Butler, player from Drum and Inch.
I think he's just checking to make sure that he's okay. You know, he got a fair belt there and he got straight up, but the referee is calling for attention for him now.
Colin Bonner, the first in to attend to him. Colin was telling me he has very happy memories of playing here back in 1987. Last time Tip and Cork met in a championship match. It went to extra time. It was truly a fantastic game. 16 barren years ending for Tipperary that day. Well, I was telling you the attendance is around 40,000 here today. They're still coming in, I can tell you. A lot of latecomers. They've had a tough journey. Declan Fanning, centre half back. He was tried out in the league. To the other centre half back, Ronan current all-star. Again towards the left half forward position. Garvan McCarthy breaks it down, but it's going to be a Tipperary ball. Eamon Corcoran ready to take it. Atmosphere is a little bit subdued. We've got plenty of microphones around the place to pick up the cheering, but it's not happening so far. Corcoran. Oh, out there from full-back was Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Huge one down. Fanning clearing it away. Maybe the crowd are saving their voices for what could be an action-packed second half, I hope. Diarmuid Fitzgerald towards John Carroll, the JCB himself. Outside towards Benny Dunn. Striking a hit and hope one that's going just to the right. First wide for Tipperary. Benny Dunn is one of those great players who scored a wonderful point already in this match, and it seems to me like most players very much depended on his confidence levels, and they would appear to have dipped in recent times. Broken down by Fanning again. He's breaking a lot of ball from centre half back for Tipperary. Establishing mastery here is Seamus Butler. Stopped by the Cork defence, but there's a reinforcement arriving. Owen Kelly going back to Conor Gleeson to try and pop it over, and he does the needful. A man who's had a lot of problems with back injuries over the last 12 months or so. Former Tipperary captain Conor Gleeson playing today in his 22nd championship match and his first point of the match. 4-2.
You see the vision there of Owen Kelly as well. We talked about his battering abilities a few minutes ago, and obviously his scoring ability, and that's why he's such a complete corner forward. He has all the attributes to be a great player.
Well, you can consider this year already, Michael, 2-8 against Waterford, man of the match, and he still finished on the beaten team. Only 3 points the last day against Limerick. Somewhere in between, I think, would satisfy the Tip following. Right now he's contributing handsomely. Here he comes again, foraging back towards Colin Morrissey from the middle of the field. The umpires look and decide it's gone right between the posts and over. Colin Morrissey. Well, he kicked a brilliant Tipperary goal against Waterford, of course. And here he is again, scoring for the third game in a row. Great score. Well, they may not have huge support here this afternoon in Killarney, Tipperary, but they're doing the business after Cork got some good early scores. In fact, the Tipperary County Board, I believe, handed back some 7,000 tickets for this match. Some of their fans deciding the journey was too long. They've got another free for steps being taken over there.
Jeremy Mays again today. Cork are at it again with the puck-outs. They just don't seem to be able to take an orthodox puck out. They're looking for a loose man all the time. Tipperary are ready for it. Every team in the country is ready for it now. And the big difference, Brendan Cummins got 1 or 2 puck outs. He launched them 100 yards, and they're putting themselves under pressure all the time for the puck outs, Cork are. And this problem is there last year, still there this year, and you know, I'm surprised it hasn't been resolved at this stage.
Well, I wonder, is Donal O'Grady phoning a friend? Owen Kelly, 2 points so far. Nicely done. Everything is going well from a Tipperary point of view, and he is 3 from 3, and he's also providing an awful lot of opportunities for others. He's back foraging. Donal O'Cusack going long this time. Broken down by Colin Morrissey. He was pushed in the back by Kieran Murphy, and it's going to be a free to Tipperary. A few early problems presenting themselves here. There was a wild pull by Jerry O'Connor. That was the reason for the free being awarded. Jerry looks a bit bemused. Owen Kelly to take it. Meanwhile, Corran Morrissey is getting some treatment for that back injury. This free is 65 metres out from the Tipperary goal. Wind behind him. Well, he gave it everything, but couldn't quite direct it inside the right-hand post. So still Tipperary lead by 4 points. And again the short puck out, this time to the centre half back, Ronan Curran. Where's it going to go from here? Oh, it's intended for Sean O'Halpine, but stolen instead by Owen Kelly. They've read the plot, and Cork will have to come up with a plan B. Whoever loses today is out of the championship. Diarmuid O'Sullivan. This is a very rocky spell for the men in red and white. Tipper cool as you like, doing what they have to do, being quite clinical about it. Eamon Corcoran to cut this one in. It's a big one towards John Carroll, broken for him well there by Owen Kelly. Carroll onto it, quick as a flash, great accuracy, the radar is working, and Carroll has put it over.
Well, Jerry, you can't see it here now on the television, but the Cork half-forward line are back about 130 yards to play behind the Tipperary 70-yard line, and Donald Cusack into the wind, possibly can't reach them with the puck out. They're hoping that they'll tuck the ball into it, but it's very easy for Tip to cut it out. You know, they've no chance of getting to it.
Tipperary with 5 scorers so far. Cork with their opening 2 points in the first 5 minutes. Since then it's been all Tipperary. Cork struggling. Struggling down there is Ben O'Connor, Cork's captain this afternoon. His sister was playing in the Camogie match before this here in Killarney against Limerick. They won that well. Line ball. John Gardner preparing to take. I'll tell you what, the decibel level has risen appreciably in the last 5 minutes here in Killarney. In towards Niall McCarthy, trying to retain possession. Tom Kenny was in to help. Declan Fanning for Tipperary. Sean O'Halpine waiting there for Jerry O'Connor to come onto it. Up into the inside forward line. Racing across is Brian Corcoran. We haven't seen him so far. He's got no possession. Trying to make an angle for himself. Dean is to his right, but he knows where the posts are. Went for them, but he's misjudged it. And it remains at 7 points to 2. Brian Corcoran's 26th hurling championship appearance for Cork. Brendan Cummins going long. Conor Gleeson trying to win that aerial duel there, but beaten for it. Cork's possession. So Cork trying to set up a 4th scoring chance of the match with John Gardner to take this free inside his own 65-metre line. Going left, I think, and it's gone out of play. And the forwards are going to feel real frustration there because that gave them absolutely no chance. Cork second wide. Well, of course, the big questions about Cork going into the match. How would their half-forward line perform? Could they win some decent ball against Tipperary's half-back line? They've struggled for some time, and they're still struggling. Another free. This time it'll be John Gardner to strike it from inside the 45-metre line. Lobbed in towards Joe Dean. Marr was flapping at that one, coming across as Philly Marr. Oh, he's left it, but won it again. And a high challenge by Joe Dean. Dean acknowledges his indiscretion straight away. Referee says a little lecture will do. This was Philly Marr, that was Joe Dean. High challenge. The referee had blown his whistle.
There seems to be a reluctancy on the tip half-forward line as well to get under the high ball. I don't know where this has crept into the game, but they're all moving out to field looking for short balls.
Big leap there by Conor Gleeson. It's won back by John Carroll. They're funneling an awful lot of ball back towards players in deeper positions. Colin Morrissey that time dropped short to Donald O'Cusack, encouraged by the huge Cork following to drive it, go long towards Ben O'Connor, broken. Again, they're trying to steal inside that half-back line, is standing very firmly indeed. And the referee in the end saw a chop down. It's going to be a free end to Cork, and an opportunity for Joe Dean to come out and pop over a point. Cork could do it something. Haven't scored now for some time. Well, it's been 14 minutes. It was in the 4th minute of this match that they last scored. Tip have been on top. Cork have shown a degree of frustration in their play. Ben O'Connor is the player down, requiring the attention. Declan O'Sullivan is the physio. There was one great point at that match a couple of weeks ago against Waterford, which involved Ben and his brother Jerry. It was a real Newton Chandran kind of point, a running game which they like to play.
It's different at inter-county level though, Jerry. You don't get as much time on the ball, and generally if you run with the ball at inter-county level you're going to be closed down because players are a lot fitter than you will get at club level. So you know, you're better off moving the ball quickly from out the field and trying to leave room for your full forward and inside.
There was a high elbow as well to Ben that time in that last challenge. And he scored 4 points in the Munster final recently. Satanto Halpine was watching it in Melbourne, said that Ben's performance was the most eye-catching. Right now, if he's watching Joe Dean put over the free. His first of the afternoon, and to tie it back to a 4-point game. But Tipper moving with more fluency. Physically stronger in certain areas and over-physical also, as you saw there, as Conor Gleeson was pushing Ronan Curran out of the way. Having words with the referee. So that's 3 long-range frees in a row for John Gardner. 1 went out of play, 1 landed in a dangerous situation. Towards Dean, but winning it again is Martin Maher. He's playing really well at right cornerback. Hooked. Might need Morrissey to help out. Coming in there is Niall McCarthy. McCarthy has whistled back. And the referee wants to have words with the Tipperary centre half-back Declan Fanning for a chop down. And it could be the first yellow card of the match. Fanning playing in just his 2nd championship match. So that's the first of the cards. Free to Joe Dean, chance to put it over the bar. Well, he's done the needful. Well, after 20 minutes of play, you'd have to say Tipperary are marginally better. Cork not moving with much fluency, and the game lacking a certain amount of style. Let's hope it improves. O'Halpine leaving it behind this time. The long-range stroke there from Paul Kelly, wide of the target. Hasn't looked to be at his most energetic this year, Paul Kelly. But then he's been moved around. Remember last year he was left half, then he moved into midfield during the league, and now today playing in the number 10 position. That's Dermot Fitzgerald beating Ben O'Connor to it. He's doing well in that duel. Good young player, student at UCD. Runs short this time. That's Ronan Curran. Outside to Sean O'Halpine. He's got all of the field to play at. He went low that time, but it was intended for Brian Corcoran, couldn't deliver. Broken again by O'Halpine, won by Tommy Dunn. Driving it way down, Gardner's back there. Carroll's after it, he's lost the stick. Good block down, this time by Dermot O'Sullivan from Benny Dunn. 2 Cork players lost their sticks momentarily. O'Sullivan still hasn't got his, and the referee's in there, allowed play to develop. Breaks out. One back by Cork and by Ronan Curran. Now the crowd are getting a bit agitated and getting behind their teams. Paul Curran. Movement here in the centre of the field by Colin Morrissey. He's left it behind to the other number 8 is Tom Kenny. Kenny is grounded there by Eamon Corcoran. Referee has a quiet word with him. It'll be a free to the Rebels. And the ball is brought forward an extra 13 metres. Tommy Dunn, I think, was talking to the referee and giving out about that last verdict. Just watch this block down again here, a moment or so ago in this game by Dermot O'Sullivan. Brilliant, lost his stick. Who cares? He got the ball, I'm sure is what he's saying. Ben O'Connor striking the free, and bit by bit Cork are edging closer to Tipperary. A couple of frees by Joe Dean and now one by Ben O'Connor, and it's 7 points to 5.
But Tipperary are playing a lot of ball down the centre through Conor Gleeson. It's not working very well. Ronan Curran is mopping up an awful lot of ball, and Conor Gleeson is giving away a few frees, and it's brought Cork back into the game now at this stage.
Wayne Sherlock with the catch. The clearance is by Diarmuid O'Sullivan. That will suit them. Broken down by Garvin McCarthy, an inexperienced player. It's Niall McCarthy, I should say. Niall, who played in last year's All-Ireland final. Garvin seems to have moved into the inside forward line in the last couple of minutes. Out comes Tom Kenny racing forward here. That familiar style, we saw it in the number 5 jersey last year for Cork. Ball still in. It's a particularly barren patch of Fitzgerald Stadium as a result of the recent 3 days of concerts. But the managers are saying you take what you get. Tip trying to press home their advantage in the opening 35 minutes. They have the breeze behind them. Corcoran way down. Touched again by Seamus Butler. Haven't seen very much of him in this game. Comes out to Jerry O'Connor. Trying to establish himself in this team as a midfielder. Challenged by Colin Morrissey. Half blocked. Niall McCarthy got a fortunate bounce off this uneven ground, and he's annoyed because the referee did not allow him an advantage. He was fouled by Declan Fanning, who's on a yellow card, and the referee didn't allow Cork's number 11 to go through. That's where he was away, that's where he was stopped.
Niall McCarthy was a big success for Cork last summer, and in the 2 games or 3 games so far this year he hasn't been going as well, but today he looks to be back to his aggressive best. I know that there might have been some personal problems there at home, but he's absolutely flying it there today. I see the 3 Cork half forwards have moved positions, but the Tipperary half backline have moved with them, so I think you now have them playing 7-6-5 in that, so the 3 of them are now out of position.
As Ben O'Connor takes the longer range freeze, and he's 2 from 2, puts it over, and it's 7 points to 6. Tipperary lead, 10 minutes to go to half time. Well, Cork went a long time without scoring. Tip have now gone, I think it's about 11 minutes since they last scored. Benny Dunn trying to set up Colin Morrissey. They need a point. Can he provide it? He's put it wide. 4 wides for Tipperary. They were stung by the early points by Cork, then came back, established themselves well. But bit by bit, Cork have shown a bit of character. They've fought gamely, won frees, taken their chances, and it's a 1-point game. Declan Fanning, or Diarmuid Fitzgerald rather, putting it out over the sideline. Ken Hogan pacing up on the line over there. One of those who has happy memories also about 1987 here. Jerry O'Connor slipping it in, it slipped through, and it's into the side netting, and it's wide. Oh, it was Kieran Murphy who had the chance, and Brian Corcoran there protesting that jerseys were being pulled, but it was Kieran Murphy who had the last opportunity. Came close, not quite close enough. Jerry O'Connor touching it down towards Niall McCarthy. Plenty of space, hits it into the ground, made poor contact with it. Philly Marr shouldering his way out of trouble, comes out towards Colin Morrissey. Jerry O'Connor's after him, so too is his brother Ben. The twins in action. Ben going forward, pursued by Paul Kelly. Another opportunity here, Brian Corcoran, a little bit of a block in it there from Diarmuid Fitzgerald. In the end it's the other wing back, Eamon Corcoran, leading the charge, getting away from 3 Cork men out into the centre. Lovely bit of balance here by Tommy Dunn, one of the great artists in senior hurling today. Dropping down, but dropping wide. That's a couple of bad misses now, because Tommy Dunn really wasn't under any great deal of pressure there.
Oh, Jared, the game needs something, you know. I think it needs a goal maybe to ignite it. It's very dead. whatever it is, maybe to delay before the match. It can happen sometimes, but there's nothing really happening. It's going along, but there's no great life in it.
Or is it just the fact that they're so used to playing in the Munster Championship, having been knocked out of that, have they the appetite for coming in the back door, as they say? Let's hope so. Referee's going to throw it in. Certainly the followers are up for it. Tommy Dunn is down injured. This is Ronan Curran on his hands and knees. Dunn was in after him there. Keep an eye on number 10. Struggled to come back onto his feet. Well, he had an ankle injury, you'll remember, all the way through last year's championship. Caused him very serious problems when Tip reached the semi-final and were beaten by Kilkenny. And my recollection of that is Tommy going off in the second half eventually. He's one man they really need flying, playing well, contributing handsomely. Colin Morrissey down towards John Carroll. 1 point so far in his duel there with Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Two of the big men of top-class hurling. Ben O'Connor has now gone on to the 40 for Cork in a switch there with Niall McCarthy. That's McCarthy, he's gone to top of the left. Meanwhile, it is Declan Fanning coming across here and trying to win possession. Wayne Sherlock, but he's beaten for it, pursuing Owen Kelly. Kelly had another Cork man against him, it was John Gardner. It spills out to Benny Dunn. Well, thankfully at the end of that there was a point, because it was very clumsy play up to the time. Benny took us all out of our agony and just knocked it over nonchalantly to make it 8 points to 6. It's no classic. Well, ahead tomorrow we've got a bumper afternoon of sport on Network 2. 3 matches for you. Of course, you've got the Ulster football final, the Munster football final, and then in Thurles it will be Kilkenny, the All-Ireland champions, against the league champions Galway. Garvin McCarthy is making way, Cork are making a change, and Timmy McCarthy is coming back into the Cork team. A great-hearted man. He has his detractors, everybody knows that, but the Cork mentors have a great deal of faith in him. Paul Kelly swinging it down there. Wayne Sherlock in difficulty. Brian Murphy was coming out to help. Ronan Curran trying to be neat and tidy. Sherlock, little block on it again. I don't know what it is, but they're simply not playing the kind of game these two teams can play. It's cumbersome. They're falling over one another. They're not doing the things they naturally do in their sleep almost.
There's no forward except for Owen Kelly really imposed himself on the game, and I think he's been involved in practically all of Tipperary scores, and he's coming way out to field looking for the ball. He looks hungry, but apart from that, the rest of them just don't look that interested.
Corcoran cutting it in. That's Eamon Corcoran. John Carroll whipping. And that is well and truly wide, and the goalkeeper Donal O'Cusack had a chance to make his mind up, take a puck out or make a clearance. He's gone for the latter. Great catch by Declan Fanning. Blocked down well. Timmy McCarthy's in for it. Beautiful play there by Tommy Dunn. 2 between them. Tip leading. Diarmuid O'Sullivan. About 3 minutes to go to half-time, plus maybe a bit of stoppage time, and the referee's blown his whistle. There was a foul there by John Carroll on Diarmuid O'Sullivan. It'll be a free from where the ball lands, I think. What other action will the referee take, if any? Watch it again here. Ooh. The two heavyweights of Munster hurling involved there in the qualifiers, and for his troubles, John Carroll is going to be booked.
I think the crowd love to see that. You're two giants of the game, I suppose, going by the Guinness television ad, but good job it was Diarmuid O'Sullivan who got it, because it was either the two Cork cornerbacks that never get up after.
Well, let's hope it excites the crowd, because they could do with something. It's not the hurling. Shonago Halpine will take this next free. Well, they need to hear the words of the mentors fairly quickly in the dressing room, settle down with a 10 or 15 minute break and come out and play some hurling for the second half. This is one of the genuine stars, Owen Kelly. Owen Kelly bursting through. There's a goal chance for John Carroll. And what's going to happen? He's got a penalty. Stopped unfairly by the Cork defence. John Gardner is furious. Diarmuid O'Sullivan remonstrating with the referee Barry Kelly. They'll have to calm it down, because after all the protestations, they are facing a penalty situation for Tipperary. Just look at the number of steps that were taken here by John Carroll, and you can see that in spite of all the pressure, the referee said...
Donald Cusack pulled a wild stroke here and then went to ground and pretended he was injured, as far as I can see.
Yep.
Definite penalty.
And after all of that, it's going to be a Tipperary penalty. Cork will have 3 on the goal lines. The referee consulting with his umpires. It might have to do with the stroke that you mentioned there, Michael.
Benny Dunn may have left the hurl in as well when Donald Cusack went to ground, but not too bad, but there's definitely a penalty.
Not sure what the umpire said to the referee that time. He'd made his mind up about the penalty. He went in, talked to them, came back out and re-indicated what he'd already told us, that it was going to be a penalty. Ah, yes, he's going back now, as Dr. Con Murphy there is attending to Donal Óg, along with the physio Declan O'Sullivan. And having any kind of problems with that right eye, and about to face the perils that may accrue from a penalty from 20 metres. Not the best of starts. That's John Carroll trying to bullnose his way through. Down went Donald Cusack. Referee is still trying to keep the calm outside the 20-metre line.
There's very little in it, Jerry. I don't know what you're getting so agitated about.
Well, the referee's made his decision. As you say, the penalty call is valid.
Absolutely.
It's now a case of what can Cork do and what can John Carroll, whoever steps up to take it, manage to achieve. I think they're going to give it to Owen Kelly. Didn't see anybody booked in that, did you?
There's nobody. The only one that might have been booked was Donald Cusack. I think he must have hurt himself in the melee. 4 Cork players came in, but he definitely wasn't struck by a Tipperary player, from what I could see.
Donal Óg, it's a milestone for him today. 21st championship appearance.
There's a row over the ball now.
Well, Gloss, we're getting a bit of drama, but we came for the hurling drama, and it's Diarmuid O'Sullivan and Cora Gleeson. O'Sullivan came racing out there to confront Gleeson, and now they're all getting involved. Let's hope they just settle down quickly, get on with the game.
The delay is too long, Joe. There's 15 or 20 players standing around the 21-yard line for the last 2 or 3 minutes. If the goalie is that badly injured, should be gone off the field. Simple as that. Just standing around, and Diarmuid O'Sullivan come out and give a dig at the hurl to Conor Gleeson. Conor Gleeson is putting his face into everybody since the game started as well. Just silly carry on.
I don't know if Donald Cusack wears contact lenses. He doesn't normally in his normal run-of-the-mill of life. Not that I know of anyway. Maybe he does. But they seem to be adjusting. It must be contact lenses. He's also got a nick over the eye, as we can see. And there is going to be a yellow card for that pull across John Carroll. So that is now 2 yellow cards for Tipperary players, 1 for Cork. Score 8-6, time 36-58, say 37 minutes.
Probably the turning point of the game. Now, if this goes in, Tipper are going to go into a 5-point lead at half-time. Now, if Cork save it, they have a great chance in the second half.
Owen Kelly, scorer of 2-8 against Waterford in the Munster semi. 3 points so far today. Kelly against the Cork defence, stopped by Donald Cusack. They're all in after it, and it's ended up in the back of the net, and a goal for Tipperary. Kelly is absolutely delighted, but his shot was stopped by Donald Cusack. You could see that, and they were all in after after it, but Tipperary have the goal. Let's see at the end if we can see who applied any bit of finish. It was Paul Kelly. So in the 38th minute, the goal by Paul Kelly, setting up Tipperary just before the break. Just as the match was limping along, it finally ignited into some life and really exploded for a minute or two, and it's still exploding over there. There was a wild pull across the legs of Jerry O'Connor, and everybody's in. It's almost like the Battle of Killarney. Everybody's involved. I saw a wild pull. That's what seemed to start it all off, and everybody came in immediately. Watch it again here. That was Benny Dunn.
Benny Dunn's brutal stroke.
He was pulling across Jerry O'Connor, and everybody said, we're going to get involved. A nightmare for the referee.
I think if he ran on that, John Gardner got a dig as well, but he's been involved in everything as well. The wrong man has been picked here now.
Yeah, he's picking Colin Morrissey, but it was, in fact, Benny Dunn.
He's going to suffer now, probably. He could get a red card here, try to calm things down, which would be totally unfair.
The man who pulled the blow is entitled to a red card. That's the ruling, to strike or to attempt to strike. But did Pat Horan, the linesman, see it? It happened so suddenly, and immediately after that, everybody was in on top of the two players involved. It's a yellow card for Colin Morrissey, wrong man. We think. We're certain that it was Benny Dunn who whipped across Jerry O'Connor. What happened after that?
Colin Morrissey was booked for, he digged John Gardner in the back. I saw that as well from here, and Pat Horan grabbed him straight away. There was no action taken against Benny Dunn whatsoever.
May happen later, but it may be quite immaterial. Tipperary now trying to get some more scores before the break. Well, the panel will have a little discussion. They'll have lots to talk about in the last 5 minutes of the game. Not an awful lot to talk about before that. We've played 40 minutes.
But just to clarify that last incident, Colin Morrissey, I think, deserves to be booked. He tackled John Gardner late. He gave him a dig at the hurl into the ribs from behind. But obviously, no one saw the Benny Dunn incident. Okay. He was behind the back of the umpire there. If you roll under, if the replay rolls on, you'll see John Gardner. Roll it on. Just roll it. There's John Gardner, number 5.
Well spotted, Michael. Tipperary. Back defending there. Kieran Murphy got the first point of the match. Back towards Tom Kenny. The managers will have to calm things down at half time. This is good by Jerry O'Connor. Nice point. 1-8 to 7 points. It's anybody's game on a day where Tipperary have created 18 chances. Cork created 10th, and with their 10th, Jerry O'Connor popped up for the last score of a first half, which limped along at its ease, was dull and uneventful, and then exploded into life with a penalty, and then with a fracas after that. It's a day for cool heads. One of these teams is going to leave the championship arena. Who will it be? At the moment, at half-time, Tipperary lead in Killarney, with the scoreline reading Tipperary 1-8, Cork 7 points. The goal, of course, scored by Paul Kelly from the penalty taken by his brother Owen, which was stopped by the Cork defence and by their goalkeeper, Donald O'Cusack in particular. Let's go down to the sideline now. Reporter today is Jim Carney. Jim?
Thank you very much indeed, Ger. Colin Bonner, so much happened in the last 10 minutes, Colin, that it's hard for us really to know exactly what did happen, but from what you saw over there, I'm sure it wasn't what you wanted to see.
No, I suppose the game's getting a small bit out of hand. There's a couple of late tackles going in, and we're going to have to concentrate back on the hurling. I think from a Tipperary point of view, we after 14 minutes we went 7 points to 2 up. Cork came back, we had a few silly wides, they hit a few points, but we weathered the storm. We've come back now, we're still 4 points up, but we need that with that breeze.
Now the goal, of course, you had 2 chances at it. It didn't win the first time, it did the second.
It did, yeah. It was vital that we got it because there was a lot of happening down there, and to stop for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and it would have been a great boost for Cork if they blocked it. But thank God it went in, and we've something now to defend. At least we're up 4 points, but it's going to be a hell of a game.
Both team managers will be looking for more discipline, I would imagine, in the second half.
Well, we have, yeah. I think we've let Cork back into with a lot of silly frees, and we paid the cost. I think most of their scores have come from frees, whereas I think 5 or 4 have scored from play. So I'm hoping that we can continue that format, and that I know there's a hell of a breeze here, and it's going to make a big difference.
Okay, Colin, thanks for staying out to talk to us.
Thank you.
Ah yes, it's not Munster Championship hurling, but I'll tell you, it'll do. This is some belter in every sense of the word between Tip and Cork, all getting very frantic there in the last 10 minutes or so. Pete Finnerty, Tomas Mulcahy here with me. Maybe just, Tomas, your thoughts first of all. Kind of difficult to analyse that first half. It sort of sauntered along for a little while. It suddenly burst into fire.
Yeah, Cork started well and got the 2 points on the board, and you said, yeah, they're really up for this game. Showed a lot of heart and showed a lot of endeavour, and gradually Tip started to take over and looked a big threat themselves. But we must point out, Mike, there is a strong breeze blowing down into us here. You know, there is a strong breeze, and certainly you look at the Tip full back line. They're dominant. Anything that has come in there, they've drove out and made long clearances down the field. In their full forward line, Owen Kelly looks a big threat every time he gets possession, and certainly John Carroll breaking ball, they're his own to feed on it, and he's actually got some great scores in that first half period as well. And Cork will be, they won't be too unhappy. It's 4 points. I mean, they're still well in the game. A few little skirmishes there, I mean, but that's going to raise the tempo of the game again, and we could be in for a very, very good second half. I mean, it's all to play for, and Cork with the breeze. Obviously, their lack of kind of strength under the pucker in the first half there with Donald Cusey. He was dropping ball short. I know Michael Duggan has mentioned it, right? And they placed Ben O'Connor in as centre forward and put the two lads in the wing, but we failed to reach him with the puck out, and balls went out over the line. We tried 1 or 2 short ones again. Dermot O'Sullivan hit one over the line. Sean Oak had another one, and there were mistakes that we made that ended in points at Tipperary, and at this level you can't afford to do that.
Well, as I said, or the commentator said, as Michael Duignan and Ger Canning said, maybe the managers want to cool everything down here for the moment, but it's intense stuff. There was a skirmish here, a skirmish there, a battle on the sideline. Even Dermot O'Sullivan ended up doing topsy-turvy.
Yeah, it got a bit heated in the last 5 or 10 minutes, all right, and you can see that both teams want to win this. This is the incident here. Vinny Dunn, in fairness, is lucky that the referee didn't see that first time, because if he did, he deserved to walk for that. At that stage, the temperatures were hot. There was a bit of an incident before the penalty was taken, and there we see. Who was that?
That's Morrissey.
Colin Morrissey came in there and they were
yellow card for that for
John Gardner into the back. But Vinny Dunn really started it. Temperatures were very hot at that stage. And in fairness to the referee, Barry Kelly has done an extremely good game, I think, today. You can't argue against that, because that's just when you lose all control and anarchy breaks out. But Barry Kelly has let the advantage go, and he has pulled guys when they were wrong. He's given his yellow card when he has to give them. And we'll see some incidents later on, especially where the goal came, where he picked out the man, and it was the goalkeeper that fouled. He identified him straight away, and he gave him the card for it. So it's not as a result of bad refereeing that we're seeing what's happening out there. It's pure intensity. It's the desire to stay on the championship.
It sure is. You'd need mirrors, actually, a referee in this game today to see all the things that are going on around you. We take a break. Back again shortly after that. In Killarney, it's very intense stuff in this hurling qualifier between Cork and Tipperary. The losers go out. Tomas Mulcahy is afraid they're going to get bet. Pete Finnerty is afraid it's going to get wet. I think they're going to spots of rain at the moment. 187 points, Tip lead. It all started to kind of welter up into a big heap of excitement there with the penalty that Tip got. Let's have a look at the penalty incident first, because this went on for quite some time, Pete. Donald Logue obviously got a belt in the whole incident as he committed the foul himself, we see.
Yeah, this came at a period in the game where Cork were dominating and they needed to do something. And again, it was Owen Kelly that carried the ball in, and John Carroll broke out to his right, grabbed the ball, and you can count all the number of steps you like. But after 3 steps, it was Donald Logue that pulled straight across. Here, 1, 2, 3. There comes in the swipe. The whistle had gone at that stage. Then the melee started. Here we see the penalty. Kelly was riled up for this.
Mulcahy were involved in this. Owen took.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great block by Donald Cusick, but the follow-up, obviously, when the ball breaks, you must clear your lines, get it out the wing. The ball actually spills back out into play, and there you see Paul Kelly just scooping it into the back of the net. And the shemazel that happened before that, Michael, I believe, was that Owen Kelly had a sliotar in his hand. I think one of the Cork backs went out, took the sliotar, gave him a whole ball, but he was a Tipperary man as usual. He wasn't having it, and went back to get a new sliotar to take that penalty with. And that's what a lot of the handbag stuff was happening there around there was a couple of minutes break before the penalty was actually taken.
Yeah, that goal, that penalty incident and that goal was a blow to Cork at that stage because they had been edging their way back into the game up to that.
We got ourselves back into the game, you know, by freeze there from Ben O'Connor, and we were only a point behind at that stage, and that was a bit of a killer blow just on half-time. But again, they got a point just before the whistle there to half-time to actually just put the 4 points between it. And as I said, there is a strong breeze. It's everything to play for. The big thing now that we looked at in the first half was Brendan Cummins and his use of the puck with the wind. He just let the ball fly down the field, right down the top of centre-backs. It went over the heads and went into the full forward. And that put tremendous pressure on the Cork backs. Interested to see what Donald Cusack now will be doing in the second half period. Not an awful he had an awful short puck outs there in that first half period. Drive the ball long. Niall McCarthy, as we said there, Peter, I think, was dominating in the centre position, out in the wing, and he's the one man that's leading the Cork attack today. He cannot be faulted for his efforts today.
Yeah, we've picked out an incident of Niall McCarthy, and this really just kind of shows the way he's trying to razz things up there, because there's not an awful lot happening for them, or the first half anyway.
There was a 15-20 minute period in the game where Cork hadn't scored, where the start of the whirlwind, Tipperary got control, and it was really as a result of their half-forward line, Ben O'Connor, Niall McCarthy and Gabriel McCarthy, that weren't performing. And Niall McCarthy started up in his game, and when Niall McCarthy runs at defences, that's when he's at his most dangerous. He gets control and he takes off. And as a result of his running and his work, he got about 3 frees that Cork converted and brought them back into a game. Now, it's very difficult for the Cork forwards to be blamed because there is a strong breeze. They weren't getting the ball past their half-forward line, and their full forward line is starred in there. Now, they'll get plenty of opportunity in the second half, but you're often finding, and Tom also confirmed this as a forward, that when you're out of the game for 35 minutes hanging around doing nothing, and the next thing you get an opportunity you do like what Brian Corcoran did in the first half. You get one ball, I have to score. I've nothing scored all day. And suddenly you start shooting from wide angles. It's important that Cork, they're playing with the wind. They have the Cork crowd here, they're playing into their own crowd. They're 35 minutes away from being back into the championship. But it's important that they don't go into an individual role where everybody tries and does individual things. Miles McCarthy is the one man who should run at the defence, and the rest should look for the breaks. Because that's exactly what Owen Kelly did in the first half. Owen Kelly made a point for Conor Gleeson, he made one for Benny Dunn, and he made one for Colin Morrissey. Just because he uses his head and he threw the ball around.
Well, there's referee Barry Kelly waiting for the teams to come out for the second half, all wired up. Of course, the referees these days now are in constant contact with their linesmen. If the linesman sees anything that they miss, they can ring him on his radio and tell him that he wants to talk to him and explain something to him. We talked before the game, Tomas, that we didn't really, there was a lot of questions out of this game, but for both teams, I think in fairness, we're not any closer to the answers yet anyway. We'll have to wait another 35 minutes.
Oh, we're not certainly not closer to the answers. And I mean, it's as I said, it's all to play for. But again, it's use of possession now in the second half period. And like Tipperary playing into that breeze, will find the open spaces up at that end of the goal as well, much more to their advantage as well. You'd expect the Cork backs now to close down shop, don't give them any more goal opportunities, and get the ball down the field and put that Tipperary backline under pressure. Again, as I said, the interesting thing is getting a return on from our half-forward line. I mean, no point pucking ball after ball down the top of if we're not getting there. And if it doesn't work there, that we have somebody like Brian Corcoran, who is a side foot forward, a big strong man, that he cannot lie idle inside there for the full match without possession coming in, that they might make the switch to put him out to the half-hour line to try and gain possession there, because it didn't work in that first half period. You saw Gavin McCarthy be taken off, being replaced by Timmy McCarthy, and I'm sure if that half-hour line doesn't work properly in the second half period, you would see more switches being made. And the likes of Jonathan O'Callaghan, I feel, can feel very unlucky that he wasn't the first man to be brought into this team. Whatever he has to do to get on the team, it beats me at this stage, and certainly I'm sure he will make, if he comes in the second half, he will try to make an impact as well.
One thing that Tip will look at is how well they started this game, and then I must say they drifted out of it. Cork obviously started to make a bit of a go of it, but you know, we saw a point earlier on from Conor Gleeson that was beautifully set up by young Owen Kelly for him and that sort of thing, and they were playing nice hurling at that stage and were beginning to edge away from Cork.
They were using the ball well. It's no good having a breeze and having the advantage. And here we see Seamus Butler, he's knocked, and this is a point by Owen Kelly, isn't it? Yeah. Back in.
He plays the ball.
This is the intelligent hurler that we're talking about. It's no good having the breeze and pucking it into where you have a confined full back, full forward, and they're battling it out, and the ball breaking or taking wild shots. When you have the breeze, you get the majority of the ball. But what do you
the weight that should be on Network 2? Who's going to be in it from this match? Will it be Cork? Will it be Tipperary? That's the big question. Dermot will be hoping to stay on his feet all the time for the second half. We go back again to Michael and to Ger.
Yes, getting ready for the start of what is the 74th ever championship match between these two great and proud hurling counties. Donal O'Grady, former All-Ireland medal winner himself, of course. Ken Hogan has done it all as a great goalkeeper. So they know what the pressure is like. It's a new pressure, of course, as manager. Michael Diagnell alongside me here is experiencing some of that this year as a coach with Offaly. They're, of course, also involved in the qualifiers. They play Clare next weekend. That is a delay of 7 days. No delay here as Barry Kelly is about to get the second half underway. 1-8 to Tipperary, 7 points for Cork, 35 minutes to go. There could be extra time. Diarmuid O'Sullivan. That time it's won by Declan Fanning, trying to mop up there ahead of Niall McCarthy. Spills loose into the centre. Colin Morrissey getting on the ball a lot. Trying to play it through there towards Seamus Butler. Standing up firm. Out to Tommy Dunn again. Bad ball on the ground. John Gardner. Out as far as Ronan Curran. Cork trying to get a bit of flow into the game. Trying to establish themselves. This is Brian Corcoran having discarded the black helmet. Timmy McCarthy has moved into the inside forward line. Joe Dean is fouled. It's a free from 20 metres out and a chance to put just a goal between the teams after a minute's play of the second half. The foul by Philly Marr. Well, we're just going to wait and see once the puck out takes place where Brian Corcoran is going to play for the second half. It could be that they'll move him into the corner and play top of the left. Meanwhile, Dr. Peter Merchant, the Tipperary doctor, attending to an injured player. May well be Martin Maher. This is Martin Maher again here. He was shouldered by Timmy McCarthy and went down awkwardly. Very accomplished step dancer, I'm told, as well, in County Tipperary. Just listen to the crowd. Sample the atmosphere if you can. But 40,000 people here in Killarney. An unusual setting in its own way for a major hurling match in the Guinness Hurling Qualifiers. Whoever wins here goes into the draw that Michael was talking about tomorrow night after the triple header on Network 2 for the quarterfinals. Antrim are there already, and I'm going to say it, others may whisper it, everybody will want Antrim. They'll feel they have a better chance of getting to the semis.
I couldn't agree with you on that, Chair, at this stage.
Others will question how Antrim are in that particular position. Joe Dean, 2 points so far. Both of them have come from frees. That's over. So there's a goal in it. It's nicely poised. Let's hope it's a good second half. Brendan Cummins, he's been booming these one way down the field here in Killarney during the first half. Starts very well in the second. Picked up here. And Tommy Dunn was fouled. It's going to be a free, so they'll go free for free, it appears. Owen Kelly being brought out to hit this one. Benny Dunn there, very lucky not to have been booked in the end of the first half there for that foul on Jerry O'Connor. It's now history.
I have to say, Jared, the pitch looks to be in an awful condition, especially down this side of the field. You know, for hurling especially.
He's put that wide. It's a bad miss by Owen Kelly. But just to go back to the state of the pitch here, it's a great venue to come to. We all love coming to Killarney for matches, but the surface is uneven. And a lot of the balls are bouncing awkwardly.
Yeah,
it's difficult for the players.
It is very difficult. And Croke Park last Sunday, I felt as well the grass was very thick and very slippy, on, underfoot as well. And it's not suitable for hurling this time of year.
Here's Niall McCarthy, a man who'll adjust to all conditions. In there is Colin Morrissey as well. They try to dig it out. Referee's made his mind up. It's a Cork ball. Cork now with the wind behind them for the second half. difficult to quantify the strength of the breeze. Looking at the flags down at the side of the field, it's fresh enough. If you look at the national flag then by the scoreboard to my right, it's a much livelier breeze. But the indication is that's about as strong as it gets. Joe Dean, 3 points from free so far. 3 from 3. Owen Kelly missed the last one for Tipperary. Joe Dean steps up, hits it well. He's got 4. The margin is down to 2 points. It's set up nicely for what could be a compelling second half. Let's hope so. Brendan Cummins pucking out. Now the question's been asked of the Tipperary half-forward line. What can they do? Broken up here by Jerry O'Connor. Going deep. Broken well by Niall McCarthy. Time and again he's getting on the ball. Tormenting the Tipperary half-line. And Declan Fanning in particular. No great length in it. Breaks to Timmy McCarthy. McCarthy coming through. Oh, he scored! Brilliant goal by Timmy McCarthy! 6 minutes into the second half. The man who came off the bench, the man who's been much maligned in the papers and on the terraces, but the man from Castlelyons took his chance and he cracks home a beauty. Cork lead 1-9 to 1-8. Tom Kenny, all of a sudden it's all Cork. Look at the race, the charge of the Light Brigade. Kenny with a couple of tip men after him. It comes back here and it's put over the bar. Ben O'Connor, the captain. A goal and a point now of the last 2 attacks. And Cork, from being 2 behind, lead by 2. What a turnabout. What a run forward by Tom Kenny to set up Ben O'Connor. Cool as you like. Made it look simple. It's far from that. At the other end, Benny Dunn for Tipperary. Now the character of Tipperary being called into question. What will their fight back be like? John Gardner being spoken to. He could be possibly facing a yellow. Referee had a word with him. Now he's walked away. Wrong guy. Or is it a case of misidentity or mistaken identity? It's Brian Murphy. Brian Murphy, who was involved in the so-called John Molan incident. Munster final. Got a card. So that's 2 yellow cards for Cork players, 3 for Tipperary. Owen Kelly missed one earlier on. Low trajectory, good accuracy, and Tipperary needed that. Just a 1-point game. 4 points for Owen Kelly. 3 of them coming from place balls. Eamon Corcoran now has the big Timmy McCarthy to mark. Remember, Corcoran, one of the great stars, had problems with Dan the Man in the game against Waterford. Dan Shanahan causing him problems with his height and his physique. Cork are hoping for something similar by putting Timmy McCarthy in there on Eamon Corcoran.
Yeah, and the game certainly needed that. You know, great passage to play, great finish by Timmy McCarthy, and then a great run by Tom Kenny, and Benny Dunn with a great catch from the puck out. You know, the game needed it badly. And Timmy McCarthy is one of those players, if he gets on a roll, he could destroy a team. You know, remember the 99 All-Ireland final where he got 4 great second half points.
O'Halpine whips it in, but he's put it wide. A lot of people still in Cork can remember a certain under-21 match in Limerick some years ago when, I think it was about 1997, and Timmy McCarthy, when the game was almost up and Tipperary winning, came through for the last puck of the game, scored a goal, and Cork, I think, went on to win that year.
I think Cork had a lot of players like that over the years scoring goals in the last minute.
I see. Broken down by David O'Sullivan, comes out to Tom Kenny. He really is settling in well at midfield to Jerry O'Connor. They said Cork had no midfield. They've suddenly found 2 men who are proving up to the task. This is Diarmuid Fitzgerald, very highly rated, still under 21, played in Limerick on Wednesday night, but Tipperary demolished Limerick at under 21 level. They played Cork in the final, I think. Problems here for the Tipperary defence. Ben, Joe Dean. Everybody's after it. Suddenly it's Timmy McCarthy with a newfound burst of confidence. taking on Martin Maher, and he's won a free in. All of a sudden, Timmy McCarthy just getting a goal, just getting his confidence high, showing everybody what he's able to do. The mentors have always believed in him.
Yeah, Gerard, I think Dermot O'Sullivan deserves a mention. Here's the goal coming up again now. Timmy McCarthy, first time, for a player who's lacking a bit of confidence and been substituted, who's a great finish. But Dermot O'Sullivan's a player today that I feel he's improved his performance by 200% from earlier in Championship, and his charge now with balls, he's taking players out of the shoulder, all legitimate, and he's shown great leadership, and credit to him today. He's got a lot of stick over the last couple of games.
How many frees has Joe Dean taken from that angle? There's another one, 5 from 5. Tipperary running into a problem as Cork mount their attacks down the right wing. The fouling is resulting in Dean being called into the action, and the points are mounting up. Remember that Joe Dean has scored a goal and 13 points already in this year's championship. Tipperary now counter-attacking, looking for something. Kelly setting it up. Comes back here towards Eamon Corcoran. Should be an easy one there for Brian Murphy to take. To Ronan Curran. He's always there when you want to find him, the centre-half back, like a magnet. The other centre-half back is Declan Fanning. Morrissey taking off. He was fouled by Ben O'Connor. The referee allowed an advantage. Advantage doesn't come off this time. It's Joe Dean scampering back there, 65 metres out from the Tipperary goal. He has a pop. Saved by Brendan Cummins. Good save. Takes the shoulder inside a small rectangle. Going to be a free out. Kieran Murphy with the foul. Joe Dean chancing his luck there. All of a sudden the life in the game is wonderful. The tempo of the game lifts. Both sides going for it. 2 between them. And Tipperary have themselves a free. Brendan Cummins. Great catch by John Gardner. In case you've joined us late and are wondering what time it started 15 minutes late at 4:30. Huge ball down, but it's misplaced, and there was no chance that Brian Corcoran could get to it. And you think back to 2 Sundays ago, similar things were happening in the second half. The ball's been overhit, and Brian colliding with the advertising at the back.
Yeah, but the Cork backs seem to be getting well on top now. Conor Gleeson is not making much impact at centre forward and Ronan Curran at the moment, and the ball has been slowed up in the half forward line.
Gleeson needs to get motoring. He's had mobility problems because of his back injury. Tipperary need him and others right now. Ball to be thrown in. Conor Gleeson there against Jerry O'Connor. Out it comes to Timmy McCarthy. All of a sudden he's taken off, one-handed even. Eamon Corcoran, cool, under pressure. Delivering a lovely pass over towards Tommy Dunn. Gets on it there ahead of Tom Kenny. Chance of a score. It's just wide. It was a useful opportunity. That's now a total of 7 wides for Tipperary. Tommy Dunn is their captain. He's bound to be concerned.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of good chances from play that he'd normally tap over, and just looks to be lacking a bit of confidence at the moment.
Tommy Dunn 0 from 2. Ken Hogan will be worried. And on those 2 chances that Tommy Dunn had, my recollection of them is that he had space, he had a certain amount of room. He could have checked back in and made a better angle for himself. There's got to be a blood substitution. Timmy McCarthy's going off. And coming on there is going to be Mickey O'Connell. So Mickey from Middleton into the action. He's another man who's going to be pumped up, you can be sure. He wants to show what he can do. Missed by Dermot Fitzgerald. Runs on towards Brian Corcoran. Blocked down by Fitzgerald. Niall McCarthy's next in the queue. McCarthy taking off, going on a mazy run. He's left Fitzgerald behind. He knocks it to the left. And he throws his hurley away in disgust. Finishing is not his forte.
This is going to come back and haunt him over and over in his hurling. He does so much great work, and then when he gets in front of the goals 30-40 yards out, he just seems to have trouble, and the longer that goes on, the harder it gets to put them over.
But you can see how fired up he is. He was so disgusted with himself, just flung the hurley away. Now it's a game of tremendous intensity, a lot of passion. Plenty of skill out there as well. Pitch dodgy. Donald O'Grady under pressure as ever, but the two managers are. There's going to be a change, and Tipperary are going to make that change. Seamus Butler is going off, and just looking around to see who's coming on. Haven't spotted yet who's in the match. It's Lar Corbett who's come in. So Lar wearing number 17, part of the action for Tipperary. Owen Kelly was in there, challenging. Wayne Sherlock has it. The mist descends over the mountains down onto Fitzgerald Stadium itself as John Gardner whips it away downfield. Fitzgerald leaves it for Fanning, the centre half back of Tipperary, getting away from Ben O'Connor. The chop down. The referee is very insistent on that particular rule being implemented to the letter. Free to Tipperary, even though they had a bit of an initiative that time. Timmy McCarthy's back on, Mickey O'Connell's back off. Lar Corbett is playing, as you'd expect, on the left wing for Tipperary. They're placing him right now on John Gardiner. The other man in the gold helmet, Eamon Corcoran, with the free. Beyond John Carroll, runs in. Kelly has it, dangerous! It's gone over the bar, but it should have been in the back of Donald O'Cusac's net. It was a great chance. Beyond Carroll, watch for this wonderful move here, but it went high and over. He had a goal for the taking. There's still a point in it. Now it's the match we've come to see. First half largely forgettable, but for the unwanted drama in the last 5 minutes. Tip wanted part of that, the penalty, the goal that yielded a score for Paul Kelly. Conor Gleeson way up towards Owen Kelly, breaks it down well, he's causing a lot of problems. Kelly feeding it offside here, and it's Paul Kelly that time stopped. The referee's whistle has sounded. Bit of dragging, bit of holding, and it's going to be a free from about 20 metres out. That was Owen Kelly. Watch for Paul Kelly, his brother Wayne Sherlock was dragging the man back. The referee had whistled. It's going to be a free in. Tipperary can level here. We're 17 minutes and a little over into the second half. Remember, it could go to extra time, and might. It did 17 years ago.
I was just going to say a minute ago, Jared, that Wayne Sherlock had improved a lot in the second half, and next thing Owen Kelly wins 2 great balls in a row. You know, shows you the great player that he is.
Owen Kelly steps up to hit this one. 20 metres out. Sensibly, he wallops it high into the crowd, but safely between the posts. They level. 111 to 111. Third time the teams have been level in Fitzgerald Stadium here in Killarney. Donald O'Cusac, much longer puck this time. One of the targets was Brian Corcoran, but it's taken by Declan Fanning. Magnificent centre-half back play. One well over there by John Gardner, a real battler. John is dragged back, free. Lar Corbett, one of those involved. The other was Conor Gleeson. A rueful shake of the face there by Conor Gleeson. He's involved in a very tense battle. It can go either way. The prize is a huge one. Gardner going right, going all the way right. Well, the prize is a huge one. The battle to get there is a big one to the quarterfinals, and the all-important draw then tomorrow night, late on the Sunday game. At this stage in the season, it seems a lot of hurling between now and the All-Ireland final if one of these teams is to get there. Through the qualifiers. Oh, Halpine! Kelly's after him. That's Paul Kelly. They're all after him. 3 men after him. Oh, Halpine hit the ground. The goalkeeper saves. Scrabbles it away. Oh, Halpine is still there. So too are the Tipperary backs. Grouping well. And a good clearance. Oh, that was a dangerous moment from a Tipperary point of view. Exhilarating if you were a Cork fan. Gardner driving it in and high and over. John Gardner's first point. Well, the 2 wing backs for Cork that time showing their prowess in attack. First it was O'Halpine. Watch for one, then two more, coming in after him, chasing like mad, trying to dispossess him. The ball hit the ground. The sting was taken out of it. The keeper saved. The clearance was made. At the other end, Cork have a man down on the ground. That man is Ronan Curran.
John Carroll is booked already, and he looked to me to come to take the man out of it there. Definitely a yellow card. I'm not saying it was a red, but he already has a yellow, but he definitely took the man.
If the referee is told by his linesman what has happened, then it will be a second yellow and the end of the day on the pitch for John Carroll.
No, he looks to have got away with it. There's going to be no action taken, but I don't know if the ref didn't see it, but there definitely was an elbow and there was intent in it.
The linesman went in, he spoke to Barry Kelly. I think he was definitely in, the linesman was definitely in. Might have just had a look at the injured player. Under normal circumstances, if that had been seen by the referee, it would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, because he was on the yellow already, I'd say maybe the ref, decided not to send him off at this stage.
Ronan Curran, who really has established himself over the last couple of seasons. What a great centre-half back he is. Back on his feet. It'll be a free to Cork. No action was taken. Tipperary still with the full complement. They've been lucky a couple of times. This time John Gardner going short into the corner. Brian Corcoran given a chance to forage, laying it off for Timmy McCarthy. The man with a goal already has tagged over. A score, another one, a point. This is a very profitable afternoon for Timmy McCarthy and his Cork colleagues, who lead by 113 to 112. After John Gardner opted to go short with the free, Corcoran had the chance of picking it up for McCarthy to score. Prior to that, John Gardner hit the last three frees too long and out of the ground. Tommy Dunn. Tipperary need Tommy Dunn to get those scores. They're crucial missions.
I think Brian Corcoran has shown his experience in the second half. He's only won 2 balls, but scores have come off both of them, Just give the simple pass and let Timmy McCarthy straight through. Nothing exaggerated or fancy about it. And
I was mentioning where Brian Corcoran might play for the second half. He is full forward. Niall McCarthy's gone back centre half forward around the 40 yards. Just checking the situation for Tipperary. They're going to make a change. Paul Kelly is after going off their team. And is it Mark O'Leary who's coming in? Looked like Mark Stride. Anyway, yes, it's Mark O'Leary, number 25, who's on. Cork just edging it, having a much better second half. Tip with a better team in the first half. Fanning, Jean ran across him that time. Cork gain, back towards McCarthy. Back once again, Corcoran, he's battling, he has to, they all have to stay in the championship. Now Mark O'Leary, former All-Star. First touch, first point. He has a point to make and a point to prove. Lots of people after the Limerick game felt that he might be included the next day out. This is that next day. He's here. There's only a point in it.
A very similar player to Timmy McCarthy. He blows very hot and cold. Another player that can score 3 or 4 points very quickly if he gets on a roll.
Well, the thing about Timmy and the thing about Mark, if you get 10 minutes out of them, really good 10 minutes, like McCarthy right now has put over his second. Sometimes he misses the easy ones and gets in for the difficult ones. That's 2 out of 3. Great shooting by Niall McCarthy from Carricktool in East Cork. And it's 114 to 112. Down injured is Ben O'Connor. Well, some of these Cork players can be a bit of an enigma on his game. Ben O'Connor can fly through the opposition. Today he's got 3 points, but 2 of them have come from long-range frees.
Yeah, but Dermot Fitzgerald has been absolutely outstanding again today for for Tipperary. He was outstanding against Limerick, man of the match last day, and if you watch his general cover, apart from Mark and Ben O'Connor in the game, only for him on 3 or 4 occasions, Tipperary were in big trouble. He was the one who cut off Sean O'Halpine that time, and he made a great run down the field, and he's the one Tipperary player who's really standing up to Cork in the second half.
There's still only 2 points in it. Jerry O'Connor, about 11 minutes of the 70 to play, held in there by Kieran Murphy, started very prominently, then went out of it. All a question of supply, however. The supply wasn't great on occasions into the corners. The referee giving the signal that it's going to be a Tipperary ball. Prior to that, it looked like he was going to throw it in. This is that last incident there. Ben O'Connor was inside in the middle of it. It was a right pile up. I thought the referee was going to throw the ball in there. Well, he's decided it's going to be a free. The aforementioned Diarmuid Fitzgerald striking it. Up towards Lar Corbett. John Gardner breaks it to himself, chasing after there with Jerry O'Connor to get in one another's way. Lar Corbett. Can Lar perform a bit of magic for the Premier men? Nicely inside here, they take on the challenge. Diarmuid O'Sullivan is back defending. Benny Dunn trying to make headway, and the referee says that Cork committed the foul. Diarmuid is incensed, but he might as well keep nice and cool because he's going to have to defend. That's his next piece of action. The referee says it wasn't a fair shoulder-to-shoulder charge.
I think that's very harsh for him. Showed great discipline. He did everything right, kept his 2 hands well away from him, and I can't understand how a free could be given there.
It's a free in any case. A lot of puzzling calls nowadays where the shoulder-to-shoulder tackle is concerned in hurling. Owen Kelly rifles it over.
I don't think there's any shoulder-to-shoulder or any physical contact now. It seems to be a free. I know there's a fine line between dirty play and tough, genuine play, but there doesn't seem to be any allowance made for tough play nowadays. It's just a free every time, that's it.
Yeah, I have to say I've seen a lot of dodgy calls made where that's concerned, this year in particular. It's 114 to 113. Broken down by Fanning, the centre half back, but the centre half forward is the first onto it. Niall McCarthy is always anticipating, always picking up the little breaks. Others are profiting, and that time it's Brian Corcoran who drives it wide. He has yet to score, Brian. The man who came back from his self-imposed exile and very welcome back by the fans and the mentors. Twice hurler of the year, 1992 and 1999. That's a great catch. Beautiful play by Ronan Curran, hurling well. Eamon Corcoran driving it back down. All eyes on it. This time taken down beautifully by Owen Kelly. That's a nice one, but is it going left? It is. He'll agonise over it. He'll have thousands of Tipperary fans to join with him. They're still a point down. Well, just to remind you that tomorrow is the day to stay and watch the Sunday game. First of all, the Ulster football final, Armagh versus Donegal, live from Croke Park, and then we'll be on to Limerick. And of course there it's the Munster final in football, Kerry, the title against Limerick. Meanwhile, here, it's Timmy McCarthy, and it's Niall McCarthy rather rifling it in. Niall McCarthy with a goal that puts some distance between the teams. Cork lead by 4. 28 minutes into the second half. We were thinking about tomorrow. We need to think about today with players like Niall McCarthy replicating what Timmy McCarthy did earlier. And Cork have 2 goals. They said they were going to need goals to win. They've got 2. Is that enough? Mickey O'Connell is coming on. He's in the centre of the field in place of Tom Kenny.
Brian Corcoran has been drifting away from the edge of the square all during the second half, coming out 40-50 yards, and both goals have come from him not taking his fullback out of position and the man coming straight down the middle.
It's batted down there to the centre to Mickey O'Connell. Tipperary now need a score quickly. A point would do. It's broken up in the middle by Jerry O'Connor. His new partner at midfield is Mickey O'Connell. Down towards Ben O'Connor. We're trying to win that is Paul Curran. Under fierce pressure. Mickey O'Connell is in there as well. He's up for it, but that pass is a wayward one. Comes out to Declan Fanning. Fanning releasing it outside. Colin Morris's clearance is half blocked down. Comes out towards Kieran Murphy. The Source man drives it over. Kieran Murphy with his second point of the match in the 64th minute, nearly into the 65th. 5.5 minutes to play. Cork are leading by a goal and 2. But Tip will make them fight all the way to the end of this qualifier. Conor Gleeson released towards Kelly. Benny Dunn is to his right. Owen Kelly taking on the responsibility. It's a score that Tipperary has badly needed. 8 points coming from their scorer-in-chief. They started well in this match. There was a good spread of scores coming up to half-time, but they've been blitzed by Cork during the second half so far. 8 points for the day so far for the number 15. There's still only a goal and a point between them. A fascinating match. Kieran Murphy now at right half forward. Niall McCarthy battling as ever. Out to John Gardner, the wing back. And that is going wide. A let off for Tip. There's a lot of hurling to be played in this match yet. Edgy moments. Cummins going towards Lar Corbett, winning the ball here against Brian Murphy. Corbett shooting it, but really it's a hopeless shot. The fans will be furious with that because Owen Kelly was waiting inside. Tommy Dunn was waiting inside. They're still talking to Lar Corbett, and the mentors won't be one bit happy. 10 wides for Tipperary. He'll be a relieved man, Donald O'Grady. Took a lot of criticism after the Munster final loss. He's answered his critics. They've come back here, Cork, with a game plan, and it's working. Fanning for Conor Gleeson. Again tries to spread it open as good 40 yards man would. Now Lar Corbett, can he make amends? 2 Cork men were after him. It breaks out towards Benny Dunn. Still Benny Dunn. Terrible angle, but he made light of it and put it over. A 3rd point of the match for Benny Dunn, and there's only that goal that Niall McCarthy scored after 28 minutes of the second half between them. Listen to the fans. Marvellous entertainment now. A night of drama here in Killarney. Kerry may be an unlikely venue for great Munster matches, because this is a Munster match, even though it's an All-Ireland qualifier. 1987. Tip battled to the end and won in extra time against Cork. You go back to 1971, the day of a certain Munster final involving Tip and the use of a dry ball, or was it a dry ball? It's a famed story at this stage. Kieran Murphy trying to build on the legends of yore. And a chop down again by Murphy this time. Tipperary have the free, and the Cork fans are very puzzled by that decision. Just watch it again here. Now Kieran Murphy, well, it was Timmy McCarthy who was coming in.
He got the ball.
Was it a chop? He got the ball.
Got the ball clean. It's been a feature of the game with both sets of forwards. They've tackled very hard. You know, it's something that most modern coaches would work on, getting the forwards to tackle. But that certainly wasn't a free.
2 minutes of the 70 to go. Eamon Corcoran drives it in. Tipperary going for a goal to level it up. Owen Kelly, the danger man, has it. Cork have to be disciplined. Gleeson was after it. Comes out again towards Mark O'Leary. O'Halpin's in there. Lar Corbett's in there as well. They're all in there. Mickey O'Connell's about. And in the end, it is Jerry O'Connor. The siege lifted. 68.5 minutes in Killarney. Out to Brian Corcoran. Time to live on your nerves. 2:15 to 1:15. Cork lead. Cork up the free. And it's Niall McCarthy who's had some match up against Declan Fanning. What a battle, and what a battler. He's won a free. It could be as good as a point. John Carroll is going off the Tipperary team. It may be Noel Morris is coming in. It is Noel Morris from Lockmore Castleiney. He's been missing for quite a long time from the championship team. This to put 4 points between the teams. You know what they say all about the insurance business. Joe Dean has pointed his sixth, and Cork lead with 40 seconds of the 70 to go by 2:16 to 1:15. 6 for the day for Joe Dean, 8 for Owen Kelly, the respective number 15s. Is there more in Tipperary? Will Cork now hold out for a victory in Killarney as Mickey O'Connell has a go? Why not? It's over! Mickey O'Connell, the man who scored 8 points in 1999 on his championship debut for Cork against Waterford, has scored his first here, and his team lead by 5. Cork seem to be on their way to the quarter-finals of the All-Ireland. The team that beat Limerick and lost to Waterford by a point just about have the measure of tip at this stage. Lovely play from McCarthy to Dean. They're just turning it on, and Tipperary look a beaten team. 2:18 to 1:15. 3 additional minutes to be played, but Tipperary now need 2 goals, and that is just to level it up.
Cork, I feel, had the greater drive down the middle, from Dermot Sullivan, Ronan Corn, Jerry O'Connor in the middle of the field, and then Niall McCarthy in particular, and Brian Corkin showed his experience, but greater hunger and strength up the middle, and that's been the difference at the end of the day.
It very much is the difference, as you say, Michael, but some of the players who came into this match as nice hurlers, good hurlers, talented hurlers, showed that they had resolve and character. They were going to stand up and fight like men.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think a lot of the lads that have shown it today have shown it before. You know, maybe some of the fringe players have remained fringe players, but they're big men stood up and were counted today, and that's what you need in championship matches.
Colin Bonner looks crestfallen. Cork have it back. At this stage, the game looks up for Tipperary as Joe Dean goes down. Tip have it back. They need a goal quickly. Is it possible? Miracles still happen. Diarmuid Fitzgerald is bottled up there. He's had a great match at the number 7 shirt of Tipperary. Colin Morrissey involved time and again. In over the head of O'Halpine this time. Kelly comes out to gather. They need a goal. He's happy with a point. He's delivered 9, but they still trail by 5.
Just mentioned to him before the end of the game, what a game on, Wayne Sherlock, probably one of the game's great cornerbacks, and Owen Kelly has totally destroyed him today. What a blinder. He ends up in the losing team, 2-8 against Waterford on the losing team. It's a hard year.
Sure is. Brian Corcoran with a great catch. Timmy McCarthy's in space. Eamon Corcoran read it really well. Out towards Diarmuid Fitzgerald. We'll see Cork again in the championship. That seems certain. This looks to be the end for Tipperary for 2004. John Gardner. Only about a minute to go. It's at the discretion of the referee. It runs loose. And once again, it's Ben O'Connor, and he's dropped it over the bar. It's sailed in over. 4 points for Ben O'Connor, the captain, from his 4 shots at the target. Left his man, Paul Curran, behind, and he's put 6 between them. Eamon Corcoran lobbed in. Diarmuid O'Sullivan rises, and in again comes John Gardner. When they met here 17 years ago, the extra time resulted in goals for Tipperary. Today they needed the goals in the last few minutes. It's all too late at this stage. 3 minutes of added time has been played. John Gardner driving it. It was 1-8 to 7 points at half time, but what a second half, in particular by the Leesiders. Niall McCarthy has been an absolute star on the 40. This ball is cleared by Eamon Corcoran. He's going on the solo run before he makes the clearance. Towards Gleeson is now in the inside line, batted out by O'Sullivan. Timmy McCarthy has possession. The referee has the whistle to his lips. It's all over. Cork make progress. They get the game back on the rails once again. The team began to motor well in the second half, and Joe Dean with 7 points was an inspiration at all times. Shawnee O'Leary, one of the selectors, going across to congratulate him. Cork showed the resolve. Tipperary came but didn't quite conquer in Killarney, as they have done in the past. Brendan Cummins, his season as an inter-county goalkeeper finished. Ben O'Connor will continue to lead Cork in the championship. The next stage for Brian Corcoran and company is the quarter-finals. They're the first team there. Well, not the first, they're the second, because Antrim have qualified already. Who will join them? We'll know tomorrow in one case, because Kilkenny will play Galway. But here today in Killarney, it finishes with Cork the convincing winners by 6 points. 2-19 to Tipperary's 1 goal and 16. Wow, let's take a break and go back to Michael Lester.
Come and good at the end, much to the great relief, I have no doubt at all, to Tomás Mulcahy. Tomás, I felt when Cork got the first goal at the start of the second half, and I said it to you, they should go on to win from here, and they did. It was a tough battle, but they showed a lot of character.
Yeah, and we spoke about half-time, Michael, with the puck-outs, right? And I think in that second half period, Cork went back to the old style of hurling. They put the ball long down the field. We saw Brian Corcoran there, even though he didn't score in that second half period, coming out underneath puck-outs, right? And the ball was breaking, and the Cork forwards picked it up and put him over the bar. And that was the big difference in the end. We used possession very, very well and hit it long.
Tomás, thank you for the moment. We'll just have a word from Pete Finnerty in a moment. We have to go down to the sideline right now. I think we have Donal O'Grady, the Cork manager, down there, and I think Brian Corcoran is with him.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Brian Corcoran and Donal O'Grady, two happy Corkmen. Brian, congratulations to you. For the thousands watching all over the country, this was wonderful, wonderful entertainment. What was it like to play in?
Oh, well, at the end of the day, it was championship hurling. The winners are out, or the losers are out, the winners are going on. So we knew it was a do or die. And in fairness to Tip, they put it up to us, but I think we were in a strong position at half-time. 4 points down. We knew we had a job to do, but I think in fairness to the lads, they really came up trumps in the second half and gave a great performance.
Could I just ask you about your own game, Brian? Because in the second half, Philip Maher, an outstanding full-back, but you were bringing him out the field, space was being created inside, and of course we saw a green flag raising because of that.
Yeah, well, I suppose, it's a tight enough pitch, so, we had to try and make room. We didn't use the wind very well against Waterford in the second half 2 weeks ago, so we didn't want to make the same mistake again today, but there was a lot of breaking ball, and thankfully we won enough breaks to get enough scores in the end.
Without going too much into the individuals, Brian, the man outside you at number 11 played a magnificent game.
No, he was awesome in fairness. I'm delighted to see him get a few scores. He's a workhorse, he's the heart and soul of this team, and if he doesn't get man of the match, there's something wrong.
Fair enough, Brian. We'll let you go to the rest of them. We're going to talk to your manager, but wonderful, Brian. All of us who love hurling love to see you back. Well done, very well played. Donal, congratulations to you and your team, Donal, because it was said in the commentary box more than once, particularly in the second half, that Cork hurlers stood up to be counted today.
I think they did, Jim. I think it was all about heart and commitment, never say die attitude, and I think we had that. We were under pressure in the first half for about 20 minutes where Tip took a 3 or 4 point lead, but we kept the composure. That was the word we spoke of since the last game, and we were composed, and we just crawled back inch by inch, and I think there's great credit to all the team. They showed heart and commitment and composure and abundance today, and that's what got us through.
The goal before half-time should have been a sucker punch, but yet there was a feeling around the ground here, Donal, that it wasn't too bad for Cork, 4 points at half-time.
I would have been much happier if we stopped. I think just Donal made a great save and the ball popped out and we had no cover on that side, and they got a second bite of the cherry. But I was happy enough. I felt that if our team performed in the second half, if they did what they can do, that we'd win it, and they did that, and they worked very, very hard, and that's what it was all about. The team worked very hard in training, they worked very hard today, and I think Timmy McCarthy came on and got a great goal, and he showed what he can do. He's a much maligned player at times, but he was tremendous today in the second half. I was thrilled for him.
Yeah, now, just looking at it, Donal, you talked about character. It had to be character because, in fairness, Tip stuck at it. They stuck at it right through the second half.
Well, Jim, if you look at it, they were beaten by a point in the championship by Waterford. We were beaten by a point by Waterford. And, there was nothing between the two teams, and it was just going to come down to heart and commitment. And, who got the breaks in the end, and we got 2 good goals, and that won it for us in the end.
Donal, many congratulations again to your team and made a strong statement here, and you've been very gracious in talking to us before and after the match. Many thanks to you, and well done.
Jim, and a big thank you to our supporters. Well done, lads.
Yes, the Cork team have made a strong statement here in Fitzgerald Stadium in Killarney this evening. They're still very, very much in the championship, there's no doubt about that, and of course into the quarter-final draw, which will take place live on RTE tomorrow evening about 7:45. Well, Pete Finnerty, you'll have to go through tomorrow night what Tomás Mulcahy was going through tonight watching Cork. Donal said there they clawed their way back into the game. They did that for sure, but as the game went on, they were getting stronger and stronger. That would please him.
So where we said before the game, whichever team answered the Doughton Thomases, the better was the team going to win. At half-time, we still discussed here among ourselves off air, we still hadn't seen who was answering them better. But Cork set a platform at their half-back line, which dominated in the second half. But the performance of Niall McCarthy at centre-forward was outstanding. And the intelligent play of Brian Corcoran, as Tomas says, he didn't score himself, but he doesn't have to score. He was never a forward, really. He gives the ball to the players that are able to score, and that's what they did. And the introduction, like, Donald O'Grady has taken an awful lot of criticism at home and throughout Ireland for his decisions, but the introduction of Timmy McCarthy was a brilliant introduction. His persistence to keep McCarthy at centre forward rather than bring Corcoran out there, and moves like that. But Cork were the team that wanted this game the more, and they had the better and more polished players to be able to do it when they got into their groove.
Okay, Pete and Tomas, we have a commercial break to take, but don't go away from us because we have more to talk about in this game. We're also going to show you those 2 Cork goals in the second half. I'd say Cork supporters would like to see them again.
And come on the field and show on in a performance, and it was a great finish, and that's what Timmy's strength is run onto a breaking ball and goes across the keeper here, and we saw how strong Brendan Cummins has with shots being fired at him, and this occasion he had no chance, and Timmy went on just to add another point straight after that, and that was a good substitution at a time when Cork needed to add a bit of life to that half-forward line. Up pops Timmy and gets to get those scores, and I think it's a big boost to his confidence, certainly. I mean, over the stick that he's taken over that, as I said, the last 2 weeks.
You see a goal like that in replay and in slow motion, it looks handy enough, but it was in the back of the net here before I saw it anyway. Though my eyesight now isn't what it used to be, admittedly. It was some better though.
Absolutely, and as I say, that strength of Timmy breaking onto the ball that breaks around the field, and he finished it well, and at that stage it boosted Cork's confidence, and you could see all over the play. You could see it from full-back Dermot O'Sullivan, the way he dominated around the square, no nonsense hurling, out batting the ball out the field. The half-back that Pete mentioned closed up shop, and the long deliveries down the field, and at that stage gave Cork plenty of supply of the ball, and they were able to tack on the few points and pull away from Tipperary, and obviously then the second goal coming was the icing on the cake.
Well, Niall McCarthy made a run through. He missed a horror of a chance that should have been a point, and we said, well, he's not very good at those things. Then he comes out, he scores a goal and 2 points after that, so maybe he should miss a handy one early on in the game. This is a good goal.
Niall had a fantastic game.
Yes, he did.
That goal was really created by Kieran Murphy. He had 2 options. He could go to the right, he could have given it to Ben O'Connor, who was marked. But his vision saw that Niall McCarthy was freer. Now, Niall fumbled it the first time, but he did exactly what he should do in front of goal. 15 yards out. If it doesn't come up, the defender is going to be there on the ground. Perfect stride. Nothing that Brendan Cummins could do about it.
That was when he missed the score, he threw the hurley away in disgust. This time when he threw it up in the air, and it must have went 40 feet off the ground with such delight, and his performance justified that score, being honest with you. I mean, he was fantastic. When you look for leadership and you look for quality in a position at centre forward, he gave everything that was needed today and brought everybody around him into the game. And I know he's probably not the best finisher, but you cannot beat a guy that puts his whole heart and effort into the game.
We mentioned it before the game, Tomas. Cork haven't been scoring goals all year. All they've been doing is conceding them, and it's so much easier to stay in a game and win a game when you score goals. They conceded no goal in the second half, which made it an awful lot easier for the one-man show of Owen Kelly to try and resurrect Tipperary. But they scored 2 good goals, and once you get a habit of scoring goals, you get comfortable in front of goals, and the next thing you'll start getting green flags. They scored 2 good goals today, and it'll bring them forward again.
It will. I'm afraid there's nothing that's going to bring forward Tipperary now. Their summer is over, their season in the championship is over. I'm sure Ken Hogan is a disappointed man. He's talking to Jim Carney.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Michael. Ken, thank you very much. It's very gracious of you to come out to talk to us. I know you're very, very down, Ken. Looking back on it, you would have been full of hope at half-time. So why did it go down for you in the second half?
Well, I suppose really, Jim, at half-time was a bit disappointed because we started so well and the lads were flying and we went 5 points up. And at that stage we didn't punch home our superiority, I felt. And Cork came back at before half-time, tacked on a few points, and obviously we got to go by half-time, and Cork just got a point just coming in off half-time. And 4 points, really, there's a little hill there in Killarney, and against the breeze, just wasn't enough, Jim. So I felt we could have been 7 or 8 points up at half-time, and it should have been a reflection of our superiority at that stage.
Yeah, people mightn't have realised around the country, maybe watching it, Ken, just how strong the breeze was, but it was very strong in fairness. We saw that here.
Well, we're very conscious of that fact before the match. Like, we took the breeze, and we knew that we'd need 6 or 7 points going in at half-time. It wasn't to be, I felt 4 wasn't enough. We fought gamely in the second half, and I suppose that breakaway goal from Niall McCarthy, with 4 or 5 minutes to go, really put it away for Cork. Our lads fought very well, and I suppose the heartening fact from our point of view is, all the young fellas that have come on stream, we introduced a lot of young fellas, have done very well, and that year's experience will bring them on. And, we have huge faith in them fellas. They've worked very hard. Having said that, I can't take away from Cork's win. We have no excuses. They came very strong at the end, and in fairness, they finished a better team.
I think you've said it all, Ken. Thank you very much indeed. We're sorry for your sake that you lost. You're a real gentleman in the game. We thank you for coming out to talk to us.
No problem, Jim.
Yeah, he is indeed, there's no doubt about that, but I suppose if you were to look at that Tipperary team, if you were to take Owen Kelly out of the equation,
That is the problem, I suppose, with Tipperary, Michael, and that's probably the problem with most of the supporters were saying coming down today. If Owen Kelly doesn't shine, where are the scores going to come from? And certainly he gave a fantastic performance himself, and it was like the day below in Páirc Uí Chaoimh against Waterford as well, right? That all the responsibility was left on his shoulders, and all the creativity up front was left on his shoulders as well. And no one man can actually win a game for you, and certainly you can't fault him for his efforts. Benny Dunn, Peter spoke about Benny Dunn at the start of the game, needed to contribute more. He got 3 good points as well, and he did reasonably well in that period as well, but unfortunately for Tipperary, they certainly lacked the effort and the actual creativity around the forward line to actually trouble that Cork defence in that second half period.
There's no doubt about that. Okay, Tomas, Pete, thank you very much for your thoughts on that. It's time for us to wrap up then. We're a little bit later than we expected here in Killarney, but we enjoyed the hurling. And of course, we're going to do it all tomorrow on the treble indeed, because we have 3 big live games for you. We have Armagh Donegal in the Ulster final, we have Limerick and Kerry, of course, in the Munster football final, and then after all that, around tea time, we have Galway and Kilkenny in the next of the hurling qualifiers. That's all on RTE television, followed by the hurling draw, of course, which will be live as soon as we see the result of that Galway-Kilkenny match. Yep, hope you can enjoy me for all of that. We've enjoyed the hurling here in Sample Stadium, or in Fitzgerald Stadium, I should say, in Killarney. We're looking forward to tomorrow's events all around the country.